What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of our realistic career mode with Nottingham Forest. This is episode number 7. We're rounding off the month of November in this episode, so we're well in the thick of it. Played over 10 league games so far in the league, sitting 16th at the moment, 3 wins, 2 draws, 6 defeats. So not too bad, sat on 11 points. But just a few admin bits to touch on before we get into the first game of the episode. We rejected an offer for Oscar Greenwood. It was a loan to buy. We just want to send the youngster on loan. We like the look of him, but he want again for some first team experience. He wasn't a fan of we weren't a fan rather of sending him out with an option to buy, so that deal fell through. Ryan Yates converted to a centre back, and he goes up 1 rating to 75. So you'll be seeing him in his new role in today's episode. Serge Aurier wasn't actually happy with us that we transfer listed him, even though we sat down with him to negotiate a new 1-year contract extension. He wasn't happy with what we were offering, and so in my mind, okay, we've got 7 months left of him. Either we let him go for free in the summer, or we sell him and get some money for him in January. So it made sense to put him up for transfer. He wasn't happy about it, but it is what it is. And then another youngster, our French youngster, Konate, a loan, came in from Swansea, alone with an option to buy. Again, we tried to negotiate it. The game seems to be quite stubborn with loan with options to buy. They don't seem to want to be that flexible about it. You know, if we want to send a player out on loan, they aren't happy to do that and take away the buy option. So the Swansea deal fell through, and then a couple of days later, Paris FC in the French second division, they went in for an offer of loan to buy for Konate, who obviously is French born. And after a bit of back and forth, I thought, okay, do you know what? We'll accept it. If he has a successful short loan, they can buy him. I think it was for 750,000. So he's gone to Paris FC for the rest of the season, and then we'll see how he gets on there. But going into the first game of the episode, it is Aston Villa at home, who currently sit 11th with 15 points, 4 wins, 3 draws, 4 defeats. We would make the one change, Yates into the back 5 now, Bolly dropped, and Mangala in centre mid. Worrell, our captain, after missing a couple of months, is back fit enough for the bench. And I just want to touch on Aston Villa quickly, because they've had a bit of a downfall. That 10-15 years ago, Villa were a great side who were competing for European football, and the last decade they've just struggled. They aren't the club they used to be. This is their 4th season back in the Premier League after being relegated to the Championship back in the 15-16 season, which again was their 5th season in a row where they finished in the bottom half of the table, so relegation was almost on the cards. And since their return, they've yet to break into the top 10. Even the 3 years they spent in the second tier, they struggled. They finished 13th in the Championship, and we all know that Championship is a tough league to make it out of. And then the two seasons following that, they only made it into the playoffs. The latter, they beat Derby in the playoff final to secure their return. And it was Dean Smith that took West Midlands club back to the Premier League, but lost his job just 3 months into his second season in the top flight. Steven Gerrard, the Liverpool and England legend, took over, and he struggled as well, losing his job just after a year at Villa Park. And then in November of last year, they activated a £5.2 million release clause on Villarreal's Unai Emery in the hopes that the former Arsenal boss could bring success back to Villa Park. Now, it's been a bit of a weird spell for Emery in charge, because despite being in there for 4 months now at Villa Park, he's only took charge of 9 Premier League matches due to the Winter World Cup in Qatar, where he now, incidentally, has a World Cup winner in his midst, Emi Martinez, the goalkeeper. However, since the return, you can tell the goalkeeper's struggling a little bit. Like a few other Argentinians I've noticed, Alexis McAllister as well, Brighton, has struggled since returning, despite starring at the World Cup, winning the trophy with his national side. But yeah, it's just funny to notice these things. Who knew that having a major tournament in the middle of a Premier League season would have its repercussions? But it has, and now Villa are hoping that Unai Emery can be the man to turn the team around. They did beat Man United at home in his first game in charge. Since then, it's been a bit up and down. So we'll see how it lies for Villa. But in the game that we played with them, we did beat them 5-1. You would have seen Awoniyi and Ben Yedder, 2 of the top scorers in the league, facing off against each other. Awoniyi would get a couple of goals, and it would be a very comfortable win. Lingard coming off the bench to get a goal and an assist in the last 10 minutes, so I was quite impressed with him. Johnson scored a beauty bar down as well. Been impressed with Johnson as well. And it was a big win for us, a very important win. As we looked at the leaderboards as well, top scorer Jamie Vardy on 11 and Wanya on 10. Brennan Johnson on 7 as well, so good from our 2 strikers so far. Assists, Salah and Almiron on 6, Johnson on 5, Lodi on 4 as well, our left full back. He is on loan from Atletico Madrid, and I would not be opposed of trying to make that loan deal permanent, as well as Dean Henderson's, but that is more talk when we reach the transfer window. Well, the summer transfer window for those 2 loans, but we obviously have got a transfer window coming up in January. Emmanuel Dennis said he wanted more game time, which is something we will try to give the forwards. But yeah, obviously when our 2 forwards are on incredible form as Wanya and Johnson are, it's going to be tough to get him into the side. Scotland offered me their job as national manager. I did reject it again. I didn't feel it was realistic to get an international job offer that quickly. And Yates is happy. He's come back to me and said that he's happy. He's glad that I've listened to his constructive criticism, and we've moved on as we play West Ham in the second game, who had the Europa Conference League midweek. So, a few of their players potentially tired. Could we get a result against David Moyes' side? Well, as you will see, the answer would be no. They absolutely played us off the park. We made 2 changes. Captain Worrell back in the side for McKenna, and Lingard started. He impressed me when he came on, and Gibbs White has been a bit off and on and off. So I thought Lingard against a team that he had a very successful loan spell with a couple of years ago. Let's play him in there and see what he can do. But we just got played off the park, to be honest. Bowen and Emerson gave the Hammers a 2-0 lead at half time. And then Dusan Tadic, who has been brought back to the Premier League, obviously had a spell at Southampton, went to Ajax, was massively successful in that team that nearly made it all the way to the Champions League final, but for that infamous comeback win by Tottenham at the Johan Cruyff Arena. He has now been brought back to the Premier League by David Moyes, and he comes off the bench to score a brace, a very impressive brace, including a lob over Henderson in goal. That would finish 4-0, and a bit of humbling for us, I'll be honest. We looked to have beaten Villa and maybe find some form, and then West Ham, who were about mid-table, humble us again. And now we go into a game away at Man United where, we said at the start of the season, these games against the bigger teams, if we can get points against them, it's a bonus, it's an addition, but the teams around us, the West Hams, the Villas, for example, we have to be winning those games. And now we head to Old Trafford midweek to play United, who are only 6th, to be fair, 6 wins out of their first 13 games. But we would take an early lead against Man United. The Swiss man, Remy Freuler, in midfield, scoring his first goal for the club in a team that featured 5 changes, which is the most we made for a league game. The most noticeable one you would have seen is Hennessy in goal. Henderson, obviously on loan from Man United, is ineligible to play against his parent club, which I wish the game would implement rather than me having to remember manually to put in Hennessy. But the goalkeeper is in, who's had a bit of not a great patch in the games he has played for us in the cup. So hopefully his fortunes can turn around today. Also coming in, Aurier for Williams. I want a bit of experience at the fullback. Gibbs White back in for Lingard. Emmanuel Dennis said he wanted some game time, so he's in. And Lewis O'Brien comes in for his first league start in for Mangala in the middle. And yeah, Freuler, after not scoring so far in 6 episodes, gets 2 goals in the first 14 minutes. The Swiss would make it 2 for us and him, as he scored a header which De Gea should have done better with. But I like that the game is making it a bit more realistic and the keepers are making a few more mistakes, And another thing that I like that the game is doing, as you would see here, is they made a sub before half-time, which I haven't seen the game do before. Garnacho, obviously smashing it in real life, the youngster, would get subbed off for Jadon Sancho before half-time. Eric Ten Hag, haven't seen enough of his team, 2-0 down to a lowly Nottingham Forest side at home. He's had enough and he's made a change, and I absolutely love that from the game. Really, really cool feature end. And United would halve the deficit just before half-time. A huge goal, Bruno Fernandes making it 2-1, beating Wayne Hennessy at the near post. Not much the Welsh goalkeeper could do about it. It was a neat finish in the end. And all of a sudden our character would have to be shown in this clash of, 2 teams with rich histories who have struggled in recent years, but are now both looking to be on the top. United, since losing Ferguson 10 years ago now, have just struggled to replace the Scotsman, as you wouldn't be surprised with, because he was just incredible for that club. He transformed them, and they've struggled to find the man to take the reins at Old Trafford and bring them back to a successful club. But it looks like finally Eric Ten Hag could be that man. He's finally getting good performances out of the team, none more so than Marcus Rashford, who is in the form of his life. The 28-year-old has scored in 8 of the 9 league games since the return from the World Cup. And I don't know about you guys, but it just puts a smile on my face seeing him do so well. He's received more than his fair share of critics. He's done so much for United, so much for England, and so much for kids all around the country as well. It's not a secret how much work he does for charity as well. It's rumoured that he's apparently given away up to 125% of his net worth to help those who need it. So to see Rashford doing well is class. For me, he's one of those players who, you smile when you see them doing well, and you can see that he's enjoying his football again after a long time of not enjoying it. And it's no coincidence that him enjoying his football is tying in with United doing well again. So maybe Ten Hag can be the man to bring success back to Man United. They have got a Carabao Cup final in a week's time against Newcastle. It's their first chance for a trophy. They are competing on all fronts. They're only 5 points behind Man City, who now lead the Premier League. City overturned a 5-point gap to Arsenal, so you can't say United aren't in the title race, and they have just played out one of the games of the season so far, a 2-2 draw away at the Nou Camp against Barcelona in what was weird for those two teams to be playing in a Europa League playoff game, but it lived up to the billing. They drew 2-2. It was a fantastic game to watch. Rashford again scored key in the game, and I can't wait for their return leg. And then obviously still competing in the FA Cup as well. I think they have West Ham in the last 16, or are we in the quarterfinals now? I'm not too sure. But yeah, United back on the men, but they would fall short in this game to Nottingham Forest, newly promoted. They brought it back to 2, as you would have seen. No shame in saying that I put 11 men behind the ball, wanted to defend the lead that we had. United would score, Anthony making it 2-2, the Brazilian winger. And you just know when the AI is passing the ball around, first time passes, pinging them around, you're going to concede. It's just about a matter of when, not if. But the boys showed character, and a few minutes after that equaliser, Awoniyi, our top scorer and now the joint top scorer in the league, beats Jones at the back and puts it top corner to give the Forest infamous 3-2 away win, and probably our best win of the season. Our most impressive victory would put us 12th in the league. So 2 wins in the episode from 3 propels us to 12. I'm very happy with how we're getting on so far this season. We've got a couple more episodes in the January transfer window is coming up. I've seen a few suggestions in the comments about players that we should be signing. Our board want us to sign North American based players. They want us to sign 2. So maybe we'll pick them up in January. Maybe we'll sell some players as well, some players whose contracts are expiring. We'll deal with all that in a couple episodes. But for now, that will be it for today's episode, episode 7. 2 great wins, including a massive famous win at Old Trafford at the Theatre of Dreams. But that will be it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. Drop a comment on any players you think we should sign in the upcoming January transfer window, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.